back, as we return to a place that, as a cathedral, is a place of stability and a place of unity, we also realize that we are coming to a place where we're going to risk something. We've come to a place where we choose to risk something of ourselves. And as we do that, I want you to think about, one, what we risk, but I also want you to be thinking about what we gain when we give of ourselves in that way. A few years ago, June Osborne, she was the dean of Salisbury Cathedral in England at the time. She wrote about cathedrals, and she wrote about their role in the larger society. She wrote, "From being narrowly and exclusively the seat of the bishop, cathedrals have grown to become trusted places where a whole community gathers, extending a truly Christ-like model of the church as a safe space in which people of all faiths or none meet to do risky or difficult things." The cathedral is where we come together to do risky and difficult things. We are not here to shelter from risk. Indeed, we are here for the very purpose of it. As John O'Donohue wrote, "The soul loves risk because it is only through the door of risk that growth can enter." What we risk has much to do with our soul's journey. Risk implies the possibility of failure. Risk means that we are not guaranteed success. Faithful risk means that we probably won't ever achieve that idea of success that we started out with. And abandoning that mythology may well draw us closer to God. Risk means putting on the bargaining tables all those pieces of our identity that seem to be the only way that we live and move and present ourselves in the world these days. A few months ago, Seth Godin wrote of how identity works in the world of marketing and media, which is so much the world that we live in often. He says, identity feels permanent, powerful, emotional, and fragile. Think about those words. Think about when you've not only heard those words, but you have felt them. And when you felt them, think about how that in some way, shape, or form touches an identity that is an identity that the world puts on us. Think of those words: permanence, power, fragility. How do those connect to identity? And it's the identities that we are supposed to wear, where we are citizens, the schools we went to, our political affiliation, even your feelings about the name of the Cleveland baseball team. Right? Identity. Identity. But you are not your house, and you are not your car, and you are not your sports team, and you are not your most passionately held issue. And yet, Godin says, if we've been persuaded by marketers and politicians that everything we say and we do is our identity, then it gets very difficult to learn. It gets very difficult to accept useful feedback. It gets very difficult to change. And I would say it becomes very difficult to do risky things. Unless what we're risking is someone else's skin rather than our own.